Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And I'm excited. I'm always excited, but I'm really excited today. It's Friday. It's Friday. Nothing better than a Friday. You may not be listening on a Friday, but I hope you can feel the excitement, maybe even feel the optimism after what we talked about yesterday, this idea of expecting the best. We're in our 5 fundamentals from Mark's upcoming book, and we're, I think, 3 or 4 days away now. Is it Tuesday, the 27th? Is that a Tuesday? I don't know. It's next week.
The 27th. The book's coming out.
Yeah, February 27th. So Uncommon Greatness coming, and I'll tell you more about that at the end today. But today we've got a third, what we're calling heart habit. And this is the idea of accepting responsibility. And I think it's so important for leaders to understand that they're responsible not only for their work, but for the work of the people that they lead. And this is a heart habit. This is a leadership character leaned in way that leaders, they show up every day.
Right. And so for anybody who may just be joining us, we have been for several weeks unpacking the 5 fundamentals of uncommon leadership. And we're now under the fundamental of embody a leader's heart.
Exactly.
And we're on the third heart habit.
That's so good. And so, yeah, you can tell I'm excited to get into it. That's good. Thanks for pulling me back up there. So this idea of accepting responsibility, I need to accept responsibility for getting that, making sure everybody's there. I would say this, if you've not been listening, go back and check these episodes out. You really can get back up to speed here with some stuff. And been a lot of great stuff. I'm excited, not just for the book, but some of the stuff you've been teaching here these last few days has been really great. We've seen a lot of coaching changes over the last few weeks and months, and it was pretty shocking. NFL, well, not just NFL. We talked about Nick Saban leaving Alabama a few days ago, but a lot of people were surprised that Coach Belichick left the Patriots. And one of the things that he always talked about was doing your job. It's like kind of his deal, do your job. I think when it comes to accepting responsibility, it is a leader's job to accept responsibility and to make sure that everybody does what they're supposed to do. But we have
including the leader. We have to own that, right? That's where it starts. And it's interesting how often I see confusion. I don't see role clarity. So even if you're a champion of this idea, do your job, you've got to have some thoughtful conversations about what is your role and what is my role. Now, I know you and I both have done a lot of work with teams over the last several decades, and that's one of the main challenges that we have to address early on is that the leader doesn't have clarity on what they're supposed to do and the team doesn't have clarity on what they're supposed to do. Right. So it's much easier to accept responsibility if everybody is clear what is your job, what is your role.
Yeah, I love that. And I think for the leader specifically, we get over into the day-to-day operation stuff if we're not careful, and we don't, it's about vision. Some of the things we've been talking about, it's about vision and values and boundaries and some of those things. And then there are people who should be solving problems and doing the day-to-day. So I would love for everybody listening today to go back and think through, like, when I say accept responsibility, what is my responsibility? What is their responsibility? Get clear on that, share that, make sure everybody understands that, and now you can really lead from that place. But if you don't have alignment and we'll start with clarity. If you don't have clarity on that and then alignment on that, it can be chaos.
Well, and you've shared this with audiences for decades, that it's never your job to do their job.
That's right.
Now, you can model, you can demonstrate, but you shouldn't be taking their work on you, because when you do, everybody loses, right? Because you siphon off any capacity that you might have had or needed to do your job, and you've not helped them learn and grow. In fact, you've helped them learn something that's dysfunctional. Ooh, we can give this to the boss. And so I see far too many leaders that not only are they really not doing their job fully, the primary impediment is they're doing somebody else's job.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy you say that. I talk to leaders all the time. They're exhausted. So many leaders are just fatigued because they've, they're. It's not that they can't pick up 3 or 4 things, but when I pick up 3 or 4 things, all of a sudden, if I pick up all the stuff on the table, Could I handle it? Maybe, but I could. The longer I hold it, the heavier it gets. And there are people who are listening right now. They've been holding stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
They're doing things that they've delegated and they've not held people accountable and given feedback. Some of the things we've been talking about. It's a dangerous place for a leader to be, because at some point we as leaders begin to lose heart and we don't accept responsibility. Now we don't even want to do the job. We don't even want the job anymore, much less do it, right?
And often we can't do what we know we should do because we're doing stuff that we know we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So I think a potential action item for you guys watching or listening is to find a few minutes to do an audit. Look at the last week. If you're so bold, look at the last 30 days and identify the things that you're doing that someone else should be doing. Now, there's another whole category for the things you're doing that no one should be doing, but that's not even what we're talking about right now.
Delete.
We're talking about what are the things you're doing that actually are someone else's job. And I'd encourage you to identify those things and begin moving them back to their rightful owner.
Yeah, I love that. And I would also give you the challenge, if you're listening, to do what he's saying, but then to begin to think through what's the highest, best use of your time. And then when you pull those other things off, double down on that thing that you know you should be doing. You already probably know that, but that would be, that's what fills in the space of all that.
I do know leaders who are doing somebody else's job because they don't know what else to do.
That's right.
And that's tragic.
Yeah, that really is. Okay, so here's another one. This idea, if we're gonna try to accept responsibility, yes, do your job. But I think one of the things we also can do when we think about accepting responsibility is I want to admit my mistakes. I think it's powerful when a leader, if we pretend we don't make mistakes, our team knows it. So if we don't admit it and they already know it, we forfeit trust, we lose engagement, all those things that we talked about a few weeks ago. This is important for us to, if we mess up, we need to fess up, right? It's the old saying. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. It earns trust when we admit that we didn't get it right. Now, we don't make mistakes on purpose just so we can earn trust. That's not, because we're going to admit it. But we want to correct it and get better every time. But I think there's a tremendous opportunity here. When we mess up, we're first in line to own that. And I love, there's a, years ago, remember when Eli Manning was the quarterback for the New York Giants and won a couple of Super Bowls, Peyton Manning's brother, probably more famous for being Peyton's brother than he is winning those Super Bowls. But he did beat Coach Belichick's team in those two Super Bowls. And Eli was always famous. I think I heard some guys say that they loved him because if they won the game, he was really quick to give credit to everybody else. And if they lost the game, he was always, it's on me, I need to play better.
That's what leaders do.
That's what leaders do.
That's what leaders do.
He may not have been the most talented, the strongest arm, the most athletic, but he may have been the most respected in a lot of ways and just really got a lot out of what he was capable of doing. And I think one of them was this idea of him owning it and accepting responsibility for what was going on. And that kind of ties our last one. He's giving praise freely. Eli did that. I think the best leaders are constantly looking for opportunities to reward people and value people and encourage people. I know you've seen this.
Absolutely.
They
don't
ways.
place blame, but they're quick to give praise.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. So when it comes to your leadership, when it comes to your own your team, what you've got going on, are you accepting responsibility? Are you doing your own job? You as the leader, you're the one. It stops with you. You have to understand that you've got to take responsibility for your job and the jobs of the people that you're leading. When things don't go right, are you quick to admit mistakes and say, that's on me. It's not, I was micromanaging, or I was not giving enough clarity, or I didn't make sure that everybody had the resources they needed. And then if something goes right, you're the first in line to say, you know what, the team did a great job. It was them. In fact, nothing would have happened had it not been for all these people. I think that's a powerful mindset to show up with every day. And when we do that, we really are going to endear ourselves to the people who are following us. We talked about a few days ago that becoming leaders that others want to follow. When we accept responsibility, we begin to do that. Again, I'm excited about the book. I said I would tell you more about it at the end. We've got a bundle that we've created. You can go to leadeveryday.com and learn more about it, but I'll just mention real quick two options for you there. We've created, I think both these options, Mark, over $350 options, and we've got them priced at like $89 for a digital version and $129 for a physical. And what you'll get is the book. You'll get a field guide that I'm really excited about. The field guide. It's going to be great to help people activate what you've talked about here. A quick start guide. And then, Mark, you've done a 25 video course that is just stunning. You did a great job with that. It's going to be great, filled with assessments and questions and things that people can watch. You can watch it with your team. I would say make the investment in yourself. Go get one of these bundles. Maybe even if you've got a leader that means something to you and you want to encourage them, you might even buy one for them and send it to them. It's a great way for you to encourage the people around you. We're going to continue this conversation. We got a couple of more of these heart habits to finish this idea of embodying a leader's heart. We'll finish that as we go into next week. Now I'm excited. It's launch week coming up, and so we got a couple more episodes here before that. Remember, the best leaders lead every day.